everyone, and welcome back to On the Sofa with Sophia. Our special guest today is Lynda Brown, the founder of KidsEat. So, Lynda, would you like to tell us a little bit about what KidsEat is and what they do?
Thank you, Sophia. This is really great to be here, and I'm so excited about KidsEat and where we've been in the last year. We're about a year old, a little bit over a year old, and it all started with a Boys and Girls Club meeting. I was on a gala committee for the Boys and Girls Club, and in the background I heard one of the daycare people there talking about a child that had been stealing food from their pantry. And I thought, well, why? Why does a child need to steal food? And as we dug deeper into finding out what the problem was and why this was happening, it ended up that the little girl was stealing food for herself and for her little 4-year-old brother to eat on the weekend. And the explanation she gave to the daycare person was, well, all we have is sometimes cold cereal, but we're generally really hungry, and we were hoping we could have this one can of SpaghettiOs to eat this weekend. And the daycare worker, I said, well, what does your father eat? How does this play out in your whole house? She said, oh, he's a grown-up. He doesn't eat. Grown-ups don't eat. So her father had explained to her that the reason he wasn't eating is that he was a grown-up, and so any food that he could bring to the family was for the use of just the children in that home. So we found that shocking, and we found out started asking questions. There were a lot of children at that one facility, Boys and Girls Club facility, that did need food. And as it ends up, we ended up finding 40 children that needed a backpack of food for the weekend. So KidsEat is a backpack program that provides food on the weekend for these children that are at risk for hunger. And so I got some other people involved within a week of learning this story. We sat around my kitchen table to say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And how are we going to help address originally just these children at this one facility? And we came up with the name KidsEat, and one of the people that I invited to that meeting, he was a graphic designer, and he went home that night. He couldn't stand it. He was so excited, and did the logo, which we think is fabulous. And we thought, well, how do we get food now? We've identified the problem. What solution can we provide? So we actually started thinking, well, let's do it like network marketing or multi-level marketing. I'll find 5, and you find 5, and you find 5, and then all of us will get together, and we'll just have these people that will just be generous and give us a little bit of food every week. Well, that didn't work. So we had to reach out. We started talking to the community, and lo and behold, I would come home from somewhere, and there would be food on my porch that I wouldn't know where it came from. And we started a pantry in the basement of my home, and we were doing about 20 backpacks at the time. This was in April, and the very first people that stepped forward to say, let us do a big food gifting program. We call, instead of a food drive, we say food gifting, because we think it's more of a gift. And the people that stepped up and did it first were the Utah Department of Corrections, and they needed some good PR, and we needed the food, so they put it all together and did a food drive of about 2,000 people over a month's time, and literally filled my house with food. It was the most fabulous thing. And the inmates at the Gunnison prison made for us 600 backpacks that were so incredibly beautiful and so well made that we sent them, all the kids, home with food, and then they didn't come back. Because they were so good, they were so beautiful, and everybody wanted to keep them. And the point was, return them and then we'll refill them. So now we use a drawstring backpack that's either bilious green or construction cone orange. So nobody wants to keep them. I'll just take the food and send them back. So that's basically how we got started. And we are now up to about 150 it's children that we feed in a backpack. And in your first segment you were talking about Midvale, and I know your connection with Midvale is so strong, and you're going to be running for some very important offices in Midvale very soon, and I think that's fabulous. And the road home is within Midvale, and that Midvale Boys and Girls Club does help have a place for a lot of those children to come after school. And so we have been known to send backpacks with some of those children as well through Midvale. It's one of our biggest clubs that we help send food home to. You know, one of the things I wanted to do this summer was put a more definitive number on how many kids there are that are hungry and bring awareness, most of all. But so I did spend the summer contacting all of the 5 public schools in the Salt Lake Valley. Mm-hmm. You hear the phrase 1 in 5 children is hungry, but that's kind of ambiguous, I think. And so in talking with and getting all of the statistics from these 5 school districts, we found that there are 55,000 children. Does that shock you? That get a free lunch. Mm-hmm. That means they're living in poverty and qualify for that. So of the 55,000 kids, we figure at least half of those need food on the weekend. So mm-hmm. you know, and there's a lot of programs that are coming up and trying to help. But you know, KidsEat is now doing all the Boys and Girls Clubs, plus Neighborhood House. And Neighborhood House is in the poorest part of our Salt Lake Valley, and there's a lot of kids that live in cars and live in motels. And so a lot of people also tell me, well, we live, say, on the East Bench, or we're in Canyon School District, and we really don't have hunger there. And I beg to differ. I've got the numbers. I can tell you exactly how many kids get free lunch at every school in this valley as of last May. So, you know, we've have gotten some really good support from the community, churches, that the church that you attend did a great fundraiser, a food gifting program for us, and helped fill about 150 backpacks, and that was so, we were so grateful for that. It was a very magnanimous gift on the part of your the congregation. And you know, businesses help us. So churches, businesses, we have Boy Scouts doing their Eagle Scout projects that have helped us. So we just finished some great events this year. We had one called Help Us Bloom, and that's done in a garden. It's a garden party where everybody comes and have a silent auction, and it rained on us, but we still had a good time in the rain with, you know, under umbrellas. And we just did one, a wine and cheese pairing, what we did at the Gallivan Center, and that was really cool. We had 5 servings of different wine and different cheeses, and everybody thought it was it was well attended and it was good. And last Friday we did an event at the Huntsman Center, the Huntsman basketball, the Brennan Utes men's basketball team, for everybody that came. If you came and gave a bottle of or a can of food, then you got in free. So that was really good. And as of today, and yesterday when I went in to get the backpacks ready for distribution, because we have volunteers that are just amazing, and I have to just interrupt myself here and say, we would be nothing without our volunteers. We have people that show up and help us assemble the backpacks, that help us gather the food, and deliver it to the 6, actually we have 7 now because we've started into some schools in the Murray School District. So our volunteers, no one gets paid. It's totally volunteer. And when I went in yesterday to get things ready for the pickup, lo and behold, right in front of our doors in this, we're in a school now, we're not in my basement anymore. We're in an alternative school, and we have 2 classrooms. It really takes 2 classrooms for us to store and go through the food, because we have to check everything for expiration and recall and everything. But there were 19 cases of go-go yogurt in these little squeeze packets to put in there. I have no idea where it came from. I don't know who was generous enough to donate that to us. Whoever you are, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. And so that's the kind of love that we're getting. That's the kind of love that we want to give back. We don't care what kind of family that child comes from. We are totally we don't qualify these children. If you're a child and you're hungry, we're going to feed you. We're not going to, we were to stay private, we're not going to take public funding because that requires qualifications and paperwork and what does your parents do and how much money do they make. We don't care. If you're hungry, we're going to try and feed you. So that's kind of the love and the heart behind. We don't care where you come from, who your parents are. If you're a child of any, any color, creed, religion, whatever, we want to feed you. So that's Kids Eat, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I understand there's a lot of kids that are on the the program, the free lunch programs at the schools. But when schools aren't in session, like during Christmas break, New Year's break, these kids don't have a meal. They don't have any place to eat, right? So we're looking at Christmas break coming up right now. You're going to have a lot of hungry kids, I'm assuming.
Yes, and there's not a whole lot we can really do about that. Over the last Thanksgiving, for those children that we know that are in our program, we sent double food home. And we know that not only one child is eating out of that backpack. We know that other family members are doing it. And so we put in little canned hams and big things of Spam and think that there could be more substance. And so we double packed a lot of that food for them. But in summer, our numbers go up because they're not in school. They don't get the free lunch. They don't get the breakfast or after school snacks that a lot of them get and while they're in school. So yeah, in the summer it goes up, and my nightmare is for these children that I'm aware of that aren't going to have food over that long Christmas break, and that the program, I mean, we've got 150 children who now use Kids Eat, and the backpack we provide is a lifeline, and that something would interrupt the program so that these children don't have it anymore. That just terrifies me. I have nightmares. I lay awake at night worrying about that.
So how can the community help alleviate that nightmare?
Well, we just need food, and if you go to our website, which is kidseatutah.org, you can see what we're doing. It has, I keep it up to date. It has what we're currently doing. We're going to be doing at Barnes & Noble. If you buy your Christmas books or whatever on December 17th, then we get a portion of that day, either online or at a bookstore. Come see us at the Sugar House store, and we will get 10% of the sale on that day, and that's helpful. So any money that we can get in and bank that we can utilize later. If we need to purchase something that we're running low on, we use shelf-stable milk that we do purchase from Cisco, and we have some other great sponsors that have helped us this year, Lakai, GBS Benefits, and those are the kind of people that are helping us and putting things together for us. And so anybody that wants to bring help, contact me. My contact information is on there, and we'll put together some kind of food gifting program with your area, your Christmas party, or your business, whatever. And we provide all the things that you need to make it happen.
Real quick, what's the website they want to go to?
KidsEatUtah.org.
Okay.
Everything you need to know is there. All of our donors, all about us, pictures of all the people that have helped us in the past. So that would be great. So
I want to thank you for coming on and letting everybody know about what Kids Eat does. This is Lynda Brown. She's the founder of, one of the founders apparently, of Kids Eat. And they're doing wonderful work. They started as a small organization. They've grown significantly. And again, I want to thank my director, Deborah Dean. I want to thank Flash TV Studios in Sandy. And we'll see you next week.